He said what everyone was thinking. The recent California wildfires have left a trail of devastation, destroying homes, livelihoods, and entire communities. Among those personally affected is actor Mel Gibson, whose home fell victim to the raging flames. In an interview with Fox News, Gibson shared his raw and unfiltered thoughts on the crisis, leaving no stone unturned. From addressing the state's mismanagement to calling out the local leadership for failing to prevent such tragedies, he didn't end up holding back, and today we're covering it all. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this.
For those of us watching this from afar, try to convey to us the feeling of seeing your home, your neighbors' homes, and the community there at such a loss.
I mean, it's tragic. It makes you really sad. I was actually, there are neighbors I have that I was actually looking at them. I felt worse for them than I did for myself. I look at it as a strange mixture of sadness and almost kind of an elation in a sense that I count my blessings, no matter what. These are things, and they may or may not be replaceable, but they're only things.
The wildfires that ravaged Los Angeles were nothing short of catastrophic. It's being described as the most destructive yet. Entire communities were left in ashes, and the numbers paint a grim picture. It took the lives of nearly 24 people so far. Nearly, quote, 88,000 remain under mandatory evacuation orders, and another 84,000 are under evacuation warning. It's hard to wrap your head around the sheer scale of the destruction. Mel Gibson said in the same interview that he was recording an episode of the Joe Rogan podcast when the flames were raging through his home in Malibu. And it's because of the Palisades fires, which, according to the New York Times, quote, has destroyed at least 5,000 homes and businesses. Mel also expressed his disappointment with the local authorities and had this to say about them.
You've heard a lot of people say a lot of things about these fires. Obviously, the winds were horrific, but they were predicted. I know you know that last weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they said this could be tragic with these winds if any fire starts.
Sure.
Do you believe in what you know so far,
anything
could have happened like this?
Well, one always suspects that this might happen, but one thinks that the resources, and the capabilities of the men and women will be on standby, that they'll be able to cope with any situation that comes up. But apparently, some people were asleep on the job, mainly our leaders there. But, that's something they have to live with, but that's something that community has to live with, and it's really sad. Someone should answer for it, but I think we know who the culprits are.
That's absolutely right, and we have a lot of examples to prove it. For instance, California Senator Adam Schiff told ABC News, quote, "My initial understanding is the reservoirs that the Palisades were drawing on, these 3 million gallon reservoirs, were full at the intonation of these fires." The reservoir he's referring to is the Santa Ynez Reservoir, which was not only empty, but essentially offline since February for repairs to meet safe drinking water regulation. Governor Gavin Newsom was also trying to do some sort of mental gymnastics, and the NBC reporter was not having any of it.
All the resources you could hope for or imagine, constant communication. I'd like to extend that to the president-elect. I don't know what he's referring to when he talks about the Delta smelt in reservoirs. The reservoirs are completely full, the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us. Responding to Donald Trump's insults, we would spend another month. I'm very familiar with them. Every elected official that he disagrees with, very familiar with them.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation to understand what was happening with that local reservoir.
That's sad and kind of hilarious at the same time. That's the same reservoir that Adam Schiff was calling full, by the way. I've noticed you haven't liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet, so what are you waiting for? Meanwhile, Janice Quinones, who is the head of the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, revealed that, quote, urban water systems aren't designed to supply enough water to fight wildfires. So now an argument's being made that even if the said reservoir had water in it, it wouldn't have saved the day. Mel Gibson also had a message to Gavin Newsom, and needless to say, as always, he did not hold back.
Mel, any message from you to Governor Newsom or Karen Bass tonight?
Spend less on hair gel. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, what can I say to them? Not big admirer of either.
Some might call this childish or immature, but no one can blame him. The man has lost his home, and honestly, looking at how terrible Gavin's response was to the disaster, it's totally understandable. Instead of taking the blame, Newsom has done nothing but point fingers at local leaders, his own team, Donald Trump, and even the pipes for not moving enough water. I mean, the man went on Pod Save America and said, quote, "I'll be candid with you, I wasn't getting straight answers," adding, quote, "We had my team start talking to local leaders saying what's going on, and that's when it magically hit him that, quote, when you start getting different answers, then I'm not getting the actual story." So, like you and me, Gavin, isn't getting the actual story what raises the question, who runs this state?
My son he's a member of the volunteer fire brigade. He sort of interfaces between LA County Fire and people, and they assist them where they can during, before, and after the blaze. And apparently the residents in Corral Canyon caught an arsonist up there. And the guy was all tooled up with fire gear and equipment and stuff like that and ready to go. And he had been lighting fires. But they corralled the guy in Corral Canyon and gave him to the police. So
yeah,
there are
apparently
people
that
actively going around looking for these conditions. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently, Mel, that individual was never charged. It's a very confusing set of facts because apparently he was reportedly trying to light things on fire, but it's not the fires, I guess, that they're... I mean, it all seems very bizarre.
That's right. The man was arrested at Pioneer Park in Azusa, just a few miles from the edge of Eaton fire. The LA County District Attorney also announced that he, quote, "He has now been charged with 1 count of felony arson during a state of emergency, and attempted arson." There was also a second one caught in Irwindale, and according to the Daily Mail, quote, "He was detained by officers at the scene and ultimately arrested for arson." Details surrounding the incident are limited, and police have not revealed where he was booked. Mel had one final comment about the sad state of affairs in California, and he did make some valid points.
California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, well, is it on purpose? Which, it's an insane thing to think. But one begins to ponder whether or not there is a purpose in mind. What could it be? You know, I don't know. Do they want the state empty? I don't know.
CNN was quick to label this clip as a conspiracy theory, and you know for a fact it's not. He was expressing his thoughts in a moment of anger and seeing the policies California has. They might be actually aiming at driving people out of this state. I mean, they've been successful with Joe Rogan and Elon Musk so far, and remains to be seen how many of the people who have lost their homes decide to move to another state. But I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And by the way, if you want your friends to stay in the loop, please share the video with them. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.